All right, guys, welcome to the 10 Datum channel. Obviously, a bit of a video for this one. I am not alone in this, but before we get started, please do hit the like button on the stream, subscribe to the channel, and obviously, I will add this person's channel in the description as well. But we might as well add him. We have a big Real Madrid, no, I'm kidding, Barcelona fan, and that is AD744. How are you?
Thanks for having me on, man. I got my Barca shirt, man. Usually don't wear this much, and so this is a rare occasion wearing this.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about you know, the Champions League overall, not just Barcelona or wherever?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, last season we had a very disappointing heartbreak against Inter, and it still kind of devastates me to this day that we could have been in the final and we saw Inter in that final. But at the same time, though, I do feel like as much as we could have made the final, maybe it's a good thing we didn't make it because I didn't want to lose to PSG in the final. And I do believe we had made the final. I think PSG would have beaten us.
Yeah.
As much as I don't want to
Um,
say it, so you know.
yeah.
So hopefully this season we can get maybe revenge against Inter in the knockout stage, and hopefully we can play against PSG this time for the knockouts.
I mean, you'll play
So
them later, I think, in a couple of weeks. But of course,
yeah,
yeah, as you guys can see, I'm wearing a Barcelona shirt. But obviously, I ain't no Barcelona fan. This is a Newcastle United v Barcelona preview. Of course, I'm going to rep Newcastle United. I'll throw this away. Yes, of course. Newcastle United are back in the Champions League. Guess who we have on Thursday? I hope I didn't destroy that. It's Newcastle versus Barcelona. That's why we're doing a preview. Basically, we're not talking about well, we are talking about Barcelona, but yeah, how do you feel when the draw came out? When you found out it was Newcastle versus Barcelona, what were your initial thoughts when you saw, like, the first time you saw the draw or whatever for Barcelona, especially against
yeah,
Newcastle?
yeah. I knew coming into the draw that we was very likely we are going to get a Premier League team since we six Premier League teams we have in the Champions League this season because obviously England got the extra coefficient for the best performance, and then obviously Tottenham on the Europa League. So it was very likely we're going to get a Premier League team, and I was really hoping to get I wanted to get Chelsea for sure because we hadn't played them for quite some time. And then the other one, I was kind of like, okay, well, we'll see what we can get. I was open with any, honestly. Only one I didn't really want to get was really Liverpool. To be honest, I didn't want to get Liverpool, but every other English team I was open with, and the fact that we got Newcastle, it's actually a pretty good team. Even though they may seem low in the coefficients, everything like that, I would say they're probably one of the best teams from Pot Four. So it's a great challenge, and for me, it's always good to be battle tested early on. You don't want to get too easy of a draw in the first the then you get complacent, or obviously you don't want too difficult where it makes it very difficult to advance. So somewhere in the middle, and I feel like Newcastle is probably one of the best teams we've drawn in the Champions League, and I'm very excited to play against them. And go to St. James Park, and that's also another thing. I'm kind of glad we got them on the road actually, because Barcelona in the recent years away from home have been pretty much a travesty, pretty much have been a joke. So it's actually good that we let's see how this young team can handle an intense atmosphere because St. James Park is probably one of the best atmospheres of the Premier League, right?
Yeah, I mean, probably the best. But yeah, obviously, before we kind of preview a lot of our game between the two of our teams, because we play not on Tuesday, not on Wednesday, but Barcelona and Newcastle are playing Europa League, Conference League football night, Thursday night, for the exclusive Champions League. What do you call this week? You could say basically. But very quick review of our games just this past weekend. Um, how was I don't know if you watch any bit of it, but I'm pretty sure Barcelona 6, Valencia nil. How you
Yeah,
feel?
it was a routine win. It was a routine win. Valencia were abysmal, and yeah, Barca got the job done. It's crazy that we even brought Rashford. Sorry, we brought Lewandowski and Rafinha off the pitch, and they
Yeah.
scored four or two goals each. So yeah, Fermin Lopez had a great game. So I'm sure they were arrested for the Newcastle game. Probably that's why they didn't start. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And obviously, we know Newcastle will be much harder than Valencia.
Oh yeah, especially at St James's. As for Newcastle, very quickly, because I will do my show with Charlie on Charlie's take regarding Newcastle and Tottenham. But this is just very quick. We were all right against Wolverhampton Wanderers. We won, and guess who scored? Nick Voldemade, the new German striker. That means he has more goals in the Premier League than Alexander Isak, who didn't even play against Burnley on Sunday. But yeah, it was a pretty good performance. Grinding out, and maybe sometimes you need that if you want to go high up in the Premier League. And now it was also our first win of the season. But yeah, now it is time to preview the game on Thursday. This is, I believe, the first time since 2003, if I'm not mistaken, or 2002, but I assume it's 2003, that Newcastle and Barcelona have played each other. So it's been more than 20 years. Um, Albeit, actually, it's not actually the only time we played each other four times in our history, in two different Champions League campaigns. Um, at least Newcastle have beaten Barcelona in the past. In coincidentally, the first game ever, the first meeting between the two. Um, Tino Asprilla scoring a hat trick against Barcelona back then when Luis Enrique, I believe, also got into the score sheet that day for Barcelona. Um, but yeah, the one thing that you could say connects both Newcastle and Barcelona is the late Sir Bobby Robson. Obviously, managed Newcastle and managed Barcelona during his time as manager. Obviously, unfortunately, passed away in 2009. But now, obviously, it's the first meeting of the two clubs since his passing. And yeah, it's going to be a tough game. What are your feelings heading into the game? Obviously, now you're just seeing the game against Valencia. I've seen the game against Wolves. How you feel for Barcelona? You would say heading into this game.
Yeah, I mean the team is relatively fine. We don't have much injuries though. One big injury though, I don't know if you know about this, is Yamal is injured, which is a huge blow. As he's probably one of our most best players, and that's kind of a big blow for me. That's kind of what makes me a little worried that in a game like this, we're gonna probably need Yamal to be his best because I love Rafinha. Rafinha is amazing, but I do feel like Yamal is more important than Rafinha to Barcelona in terms of like overall as a player. So we'll see how we compensate without him.
Yeah, I mean, as for Newcastle, there's been some injury news or more updates on injuries and players that didn't play the other day. Jacob Ramsey and Johan Wissa, two of our signings, are out, like for sure, out of this game and a few more games after Thursday. But they are both out, which means that we have one, you could say two strikers. Valdemar is almost likely, oh, well, for sure play. Um, but in terms of like from the game that we play against Wolves, as far as I remember, not much injury concern. I mean, we'll see what the press conference will be like on, I believe, Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday for both teams. Um, but yeah, heading into this game, who do you think will be the Barcelona starting 11? Who do you think Hansi Flick will put as the starting 11? I'm assuming Yamal is not going to be even in the squad, let alone the playing. So, who do you think will be in that starting 11 on Thursday night?
All right, so goalkeeper is going to be Juan Garcia, our new goalkeeper from Espanyol. Once again, shout out to Espanyol. Feels crazy I'm saying this, but
Yeah,
anyways, he's our goalkeeper. And then right back, well, of course, will be Jules Koundé. Wait, this is what I want or what I expect?
whichever one doesn't matter.
Okay, I'm going to go with what I expect, I suppose, since that's more realistic. I mean, what I expect, what I think will probably be around the same. But yeah, I'll go with that. And the center backs, I'll go with Eric Garcia and Kubarsi at the center back partnership. At the left back, I'm going to go with Henry Martin. Sorry, Jared Martin. Jared Martin. Yeah, the left back's probably our big Achilles heel in the back. But with Baldy being injured, it's not that great. So um, we don't have much options there. Um, the midfield wise is going to be Pedri Casado, I think. Then I think the front four will be Fermin Lopez at the cam. I think Rashford will start, and I think Ferran Torres will start at striker, and I think Rafinha will start at the right wing.
Okay. Um, well, obviously, just a little bit of, I guess, a trivia, you could say. The last time Ferran Torres played against Newcastle United was back when he was playing at Manchester City. And guess what Ferran Torres did the last time he played Newcastle? He scored a hat trick.
Yeah, hopefully he does that again.
Well, hopefully not. But yeah, he did score a hat trick the last time he played against Newcastle in his career. Obviously, that was at St. James's Park as well during the whole COVID year and all that. But as for Newcastle United, I'm expecting us to do a 4-3-3, kind of, you could say, same as Barcelona. Goalkeeper, I expect it to be Nick Pope. Right back, I will say it'll be Kieran Trippier. He wasn't that good against Wolves, but the experience, I guess you might as well have that. At left back, I'm going with Tino Livramento. He's probably been, I'd say, our top three best players so far in every game this season. Despite obviously we only won one game, but he's been really good for us. Livramento. The two centre backs, I believe, will be Fabian Schär and Dan Burn. Obviously, there could be Malik Chow or Sven Botman, who were both um, on the bench in the game against Wolves. No injury concern at in our defense. Obviously, Lewis Hall also on the bench, and he's pretty good as well. Came back from a sort of a lengthy injury from last season. Missed the cup final against Liverpool. Midfield three, I mean, it's pretty easy to know who will be there. I'm going with Sandro Tonali, who I think is, I'll be honest, he's better than Isak in terms of last season. I think Tonali is underrated, and I think he's at the level of a Barcelona, Real Madrid type of club. Um, so, of course, Sandro Tonali should start, and he was, my opinion, second man of the match in the game the other day against Wolves. And obviously, you have Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton, who I think will be the other two midfielders. And then on the right wing, I'm going with Jacob Murphy. He provided the assist for Valdemar's goal against Wolves. And at left wing, actually, even though Anthony Gordon got that red card against Liverpool and he's still serving his suspension and he's not going to feature in our game against Bournemouth this coming weekend, Anthony Gordon is available to start because Premier League red cards do not carry over to UEFA competition. So Anthony Gordon is available, and I will be honest, I actually do think Anthony Gordon will start, get a little bit of match fitness, and I still think he has a point to prove, and I think he has something to prove to the fans. Obviously, he hasn't been that great since the turn of the year, and obviously at centre forward, it's Nick Valdemar, obviously. In the game against Wolves, I'll say he was my man of the match overall in that game. Scored the goal, very good link up play. He's kind of like a Harry Kane in terms of dropping deep, linking play up. But whenever we do have a ball in a really good position, he should be on the in the box. Otherwise, there'll be no one. Um, and yeah, that's what I think the team lineup will be for Newcastle and for you, obviously, for Barcelona. Um, what do you think will be the number one key battle in this game?
I'm interested at that midfield battle. I think that midfield battle is going to be interesting. Bruno Guimaraes, because I would say he's probably actually no. Actually, who do you think is better, Bruno Guimaraes or Sandro Tonali?
Oh, Sancho Tonali. Like, like if Tonali, let's say if Tonali was not in our team last season, we don't make Champions League football. We don't win the Carabao Cup. That's how important he was um, last season. And in the four games this season, he's been really good. We actually kept three of the four games in the Premier League. I know it's against not great opposition when you look at the teams we played against. Apart from Liverpool, we've kept a clean sheet against Villa away, Leeds United away. So both you could say difficult-ish grounds, and at home against Wolves. So we actually kept three clean sheets already in the Premier League this season. Albeit, yes, those three teams aren't as good as a Liverpool or Barcelona, but it's some defensive confidence you can say heading into that. And Sandro Tonali is, you can say, the protector of that back for the goalkeeper as well. He's, I'll be honest, I think I'm I would be much more annoyed if we had sold Sandro Tonali than Isak. I'm fine letting Isak go, but if we sold Sandro Tonali, I would like. I think he's probably the best midfielder I've seen at Newcastle United. At least maybe even in my lifetime, I would say, because I think he's that good. I think he's like if Real Madrid or Barcelona in the January or the summer would be interested in him, like he's that he's in that level, I would say. So
Yeah,
I say Sancho Tonali.
yeah. Sandro Tonali is definitely the player to look out for Newcastle probably, and for Barca. I mean, the individual battle. I think that's gonna be the most interesting. Is gonna be the maybe
I mean, I guess you can say if you think Rafinha on the right and Tino Livramento, who I think will start at left back, because Livramento has been really good. You can say he locked up Mo Salah in the game we play against Liverpool, because Salah didn't really
yeah,
do much in that game against us. And Livramento so far been pretty good this season. Probably apart from Tonali, probably our best player so far in the 4 games. Um,
yeah. I'd say yeah. I think Rafinha versus Livermore is probably a good battle. Let's see how Rafinha does against
yeah,
Livermore. As you say, they locked up Salah, and Rafinha and Salah are kind of like they're both really amazing players. So
yeah. Obviously,
yeah,
both former Premier League players. Oh well, Rafinha is a former Premier League player, basically.
yeah,
From
that's true. Oh yeah,
um,
has Rafinha ever scored against Newcastle? By the way.
I'm trying to remember. In the 2 seasons leagues were up, I know they beat us 5-2. I have to check, but I don't know how long he was at leagues. I have to check that game because I remember leagues
Yeah.
beating us 5-2. In their first season back, but they did not beat us. Oh no, well they did, but Rafinha was not in that game. Um, I think he hasn't scored against us when he was at Leeds United, but that's you know at least
Yeah.
3 years or whatever ago.
Yeah.
So it's been a while,
Yeah. I'm
and
pretty
he's
sure Rashford scored against Newcastle.
oh yeah for sure at least. Well, I think the last time he did was that cup final where we lost to Man United a year and a,
Yeah.
2.5 years ago. But obviously, different projections from Rafinha and Rashford in terms of career, albeit they're both at the same club now. Um, but yeah, we're about 20, a little under 20 minutes in. So I guess it is now time for predictions for the
Wait, 10. Which player you scared most from Barca? I
oh,
think for me, for Newcastle, I'll probably say Tonali. That's probably the player that I'm most scared of.
I guess I'll be honest. I would say if Lewandowski, would I say Lewandowski if he starts? Maybe because it's still a lethal finisher. But I think in terms of players, I think we'll start. I guess Rafinha because of how good he was last season. So I'll say Rafinha.
Yeah. All right.
Obviously, if Yamal was playing, then I could also say Yamal. But under the assumption that he's probably not in the squad, I'll say Rafinha.
All right.
But yeah,
Predictions.
predictions for this. I'll let you go first. How you think the game will turn out? Score prediction, and I'll also give mine.
Yeah, I feel like this will be kind of like a topsy turvy game. I feel like this will be kind of similar to that game we had. You guys played against Liverpool. I feel like it'll be kind of similar to that game where it's end to end action. But I don't think we win this one. I think it ends in I'm gonna say ends in a 2-2 draw. I think Newcastle. I have a. I don't know who scores first. I think you know what. I think Newcastle scores first. I think Barca will turn it around. Then I don't know. Something tells me Newcastle will score a late goal and a heartbreak. We can see that heartbreaking goal in the end. I don't know. I guess I'll go something like that.
Yeah. Who do you think if it does become 2-2 draw? Who do you think will score the goals for both teams?
All right, for Newcastle. Well, it's hard for me to. I don't really know the Newcastle players very well, so um, um, I'll say maybe like Bruno Guimaraes. I think he could score. Do you think it's likely he could score?
I mean, sometimes he can be clutch, but yeah, I guess. I mean, any player can score. Obviously, it could be from a
Yeah,
corner.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, true. And then I'll say, you know what? I say Gordon. I think Gordon,
And
after coming back from the
he's not suspended for UEFA Champions League. Obviously, he's suspended still for the Premier League game this coming weekend, but he's
Yeah.
available for this one.
Yeah, like it'd be crazy. Like imagine he scores like after like just coming like after like the suspension like and like how the new Newcastle I mean I'm sure you'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we score, I don't mind who. It could be an own goal as well. And who you think for Barcelona would get the two
All right.
goals?
Okay, I think Rafinha will get a goal. I think Ferran Torres will score or Rashford. Ferran Torres or Rashford. I don't know. Something tells me both. One of them will score. I don't think both will score. I think Ferran Torres is probably more likely. So I'll say Ferran Torres.
Ooh, okay. And then for me, I did my show with Charlie and kind of actually previewed the Barcelona game. I actually said 3-2 Newcastle United. Just I have a little. I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm confident with that prediction. So why? I don't know if I want to change it. Okay, I'll still stick with 3-2. Why not? In terms of how that game will go, in my mind, I could see Barcelona scoring first, maybe in the first like 5-10 minutes. Um, I would say if it's Lewandowski that starts, I say Lewandowski. If Ferran Torres starts, I think he'll score first. So I'll say whoever is the Barcelona center forward, I think scores the opening goal, makes it 1-0. But then I think we'll turn it around to make it 1-1 just before halftime. I'll say why not Voldemort? Has a little bit of confidence in him. Scored the other day against Wolves, and then in the second half, um, maybe I would say Barcelona score to take the lead again, 2-1. I'll go Rafinha, probably somewhat like maybe you could even say against the run of play, something like that. That sort of goal counter attack, and then maybe an immediate response from Newcastle, maybe from a corner or a free kick. I'm gonna say Big Dad Bird, like he did against PSG a couple years ago, will score in a big Champions League night. And then the winning goal for Newcastle. Um, I'll go with why not? Sandro Tonali scored the winning goal against Israel a few days ago. So why not? I'll go Sandro Tonali, 90th minute winner, maybe like a screamer sort of goal, whatever.
Oh, I jeez.
That would be amazing. That's more of like a fantasy thinking. Obviously, I want us to win, but I'll be honest. I'm fine if we take a draw. I'll be honest in this game, or even if we lose, I don't think it's the end of the world for Newcastle. And I guess the same for Barca. If you win, draw, or lose, it's not the end of your top 8 hopes or winning Champions League.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, man. We got Chelsea on the road as well, so I want to get like a one good result at least on the road. So
Yeah. And just the final bit. Where do you see Barcelona ending up in this Champions League in terms of shouldn't be getting eliminated in this round, but you could say playoffs, round 16, champions. Where you see Barcelona ending up by the end of this whole campaign of the Champions League?
yeah, then
Obviously,
I guess you could do.
probably top 3 favorites amongst many people are saying, along with PSG and Liverpool. I'll say most people are saying one of those 3, along with Barcelona. Do you think you'll deliver or come up short at one point in this competition?
It's hard to say, man. I mean, it's hard to say. I think we're gonna make at least the semis. Do I think we make the final? Hmm. You know what? I'm gonna be optimistic and say we win it. But
Ooh,
this is probably me more optimistic than objective.
ooh, okay.
I'll say.
And just a little extra. Who do you think you'll beat in that final if you were to win? Who do you think?
Hmm.
Not one. Let's say think. Who do you think?
Oh, this is hard. Um, I don't know.
Calabar.
I have a feeling we might get like a Prem team. We might like beat a Prem team in the final. Yes, for Newcastle. No, I'm joking. Not Newcastle. Um, you know what? Maybe I'll say Liverpool. I might
Okay.
say them.
All right. As for Newcastle, I think I've said this in a few other streams and all. I do think Newcastle United, Eddie Howe and the team, I think will take this Champions League a little bit more seriously now that we've been in it before. We've beaten PSG before. Could have made it further in Europe that time, but didn't. Um, I think if we're very lucky with our draw, I can see us making quarterfinal. But I'll be a little bit humble. I'll say we get in the playoff zone, 9 to 24, whichever one. Um, and win. I'll say why not? We'll win our playoff game, but whoever we get in that last 16 tie, I think we'll get eliminated. But you know, we'll see what happens. For both Newcastle and Barcelona. And so, yeah, that's basically it for our preview of Barcelona traveling to Newcastle United on Thursday night. Um, yeah, shout yourself out, AD, if there's anything you want to say.
By the way, when you mean like the upper end of the, do you mean like upper end of the playoffs or like lower end, or you just
Ooh,
some of the playoffs?
I say 15th place.
Okay, so like that's like the upper end. That's like the upper end, I believe. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, thanks for having me on, Sen. And of course, I'll have a Champions League review show on my channel on Thursday after the game. And Sen, you're more than welcome to join. Hopefully you join. Hopefully you're there no matter what happens.
I mean, I'll probably be outside watching the game, so I might be. I don't know how many beers or whatever or drinks I'll have. Depend if we win, maybe I'll be like, okay, I won't join the show. I'll just celebrate, but who knows? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, as for me, obviously, doing my show with Charlie's take on the Year of the Bird, and obviously we will review the Barcelona Newcastle game a day after the game, so a little bit more, refreshed from whatever happened in that game. And obviously doing my El Toro La Liga show, usually now on Fridays at 3 p.m. Spain time, or like 9 a.m. Eastern Summertime, US, New York time, you can say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks AD for joining as well for the preview. And obviously, subscribe to AD's channel, getting probably who knows maybe 2,500 subscribers. I've now just reached 700 for me, so a little bit of a milestone, I guess. Getting close, 300 more to 1K. Who knows? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, please do subscribe to both AD's AD's channel and my channel. And yeah, any final thoughts before we head out?
Uh, may the best team win. That's all I say.
So hopefully it's us, and we'll see you guys um, on our different channels, and hopefully Newcastle United 5, Barcelona 0. But yeah, peace everyone.
Peace.